right, welcome everyone. We are here today to talk about how to get through 2020 and frankly, what lies beyond 2020. And really, what we're talking about today is empathy. So I wanted to take some time to talk about what it is, we'll go through why you need it, and how you can build it. So, how do we do that? Where do we start? We're starting with human-centered marketing. And, 2020 is definitely a year for the books, as all of us are fighting joblessness, enduring systemic racism, physical unwellness, financial stress, and emotional drain. How do we do what we do in 2020? So we're starting with appreciating our customer individually, right? This is the first step of empathy building. Our customer is a person, right? When we think about them, obviously in marketing, a lot of times we talk about audiences or cohorts, but remember that it's a person on the other side of all of these communications. The second step is to see their world, understand their feelings, ration through their wants and their needs, if it's a want or a need, and their motivations. And at times, what do they show us, right? So with an open time, what can we learn? Are they awake at odd hours? Do they have lunch breaks around the lunch hour? How can we take a keen eye to see what they're showing us from their behavior? And then finally, number 3, we apply those learnings to our strategy. So human-centered design is something that's obviously very well known, marketing as well. I wanted to take a moment to talk about design thinking. So this is thinking about the difficulties that people face and uncovering their unstated or at times unknown needs or desires in order to explain their behavior. So what is this design thinking process? It's five steps, oftentimes cycled between them. So we start by empathizing with our user, we define the problem, we ideate on potential solutions, we build a prototype, and we test. And obviously there are times where we might empathize, get through to the ideation stage, and actually need to go back and re-empathize because maybe we lost our way. And so I wanted to bring this conversation of design thinking into the conversation of marketing. And this all begins with developing, as they say, a deep understanding of the problems and realities of the people that we're designing for or marketing to. And this starts with a basic question. How can we help our customers? How can you help your customers right now? And to start, think about how your product fits into your customer's life, whether it's a product or an experience or a service. What is it? What kind of role does it play for them? Is there stress involved with this product? Can we reduce the stress? Is that something that our product marketing team can really take the onus of? Can we, commit to great product marketing so that it's clear what we do, what we offer? Or are we fulfilling a critical need of the customer? So I work at Ria Money Transfer. We're a money transfer company. Oftentimes this is a critical need. We're a critical service for the customer. They need to send money to friends and family who are relying on them. And oftentimes people have to decide between which one of you and your competitors or me and my competitors to purchase from. Is that stressful? Can we make it more transparent? Could we offer a price comparison tool or some type of transparent solution for them? And another way I like to think about this is, if customers were given a bunch of options, which one would they choose? Let's say that we can help make it easier, or maybe faster, or safer, maybe cheaper. Can we help them remember something? If you gave them a laundry list of 5, which would they choose? And focus on that one in your messaging. So for Ria Money Transfer, for example, we're a service to our people, right? Faster is great, but safe is really key. If I'm sending $200, I want to make sure that it gets there. If I'm sharing my bank information, I want to make sure that it's safe. So what can we do as marketers to let them know we're thinking about that too? So let's look at an example. This is how we've done it at Ria. Starting with this problem statement of customers who have registered for accounts but failed to complete their first transaction. This is our registered, not transacted audience. And so at T equals 0 times 0, account creation complete is satisfied. A customer signs up for an account with Ria. In 5 minutes from then, we send a welcome email that tells them, hey, we're Ria. We offer biometric login options. We have 400,000 locations in 170 countries. And then they just kind of ghost us, right? So poof, after this 5 minutes, nothing else happens. And so for us as marketers, it's our job to consider, why did they fall off? What happened there? And at Ria in particular, the idea is somebody doesn't just come to Ria, create an account for no reason, right? Somebody wants to get something done. And so how can we help them do what they came here to do? Our growth marketer took on this project to figure out how we can help them satisfy their first transaction. So by adding a reminder at 6 hours after account creation complete, just a simple push notification encouraging a first transaction, we're seeing 10% more transaction volume. What does this tell us as marketers? They got distracted. This is a helpful reminder. It helps both of us. It helps them accomplish what they came here to do, and it helps us see a successful conversion. So how do we get here? How does anyone get to figuring out what messaging or what concept or what strategy to put out there right now? So I put together these questions that you can ask yourself as you draft concepts. And at times, marketers, we think a lot about the customer life cycle. What are the points that we can affect? Where can we get the most bang for our buck? Or what part of the funnel is really leaky? And we can try to patch it just above there. So for us, what small tweak would satisfy our customers and help us win more customers? That was that push reminder at 6 hours. So let's go through an exercise of these questions that we can ask. The first one is, what does their world look like right now? 2020 is a really odd one. Even before that, though, our migrant communities can be far from family, isolated in a new country, sending back what money they can. Another question, what else might be happening in their life? A really good example for this, which 2020 has really changed my perspective on, is another tactic that we tried to employ for our registered, not transacted audience. So we drafted an email for folks who had registered but not yet transacted. And the subject line was, are you liking Ria? The headline said, is everything okay? Which is a really interesting question. And in fact, very empathetic. I think that me last year in 2019, I definitely would have sent that. We're considering the user's needs and we're asking them genuinely, is everything all right? Why aren't you engaging with us? Is something wrong? Do we need to know some product feedback? But in fact, in 2020, most nothing is okay. A lot of things are not okay. And even, reflecting back, let's say a year ago today, if you hit somebody with that, is everything okay? Maybe they had some tragedy in their life that we're not aware of. Maybe their dog died. Maybe they're really stressed or, stranded with like a canceled flight. And so just considering what else could be happening in their life, especially in the context of 2020, and helping that determine how you talk to them. The third question, what do they need from us? So I'll take a step back. As a financial company, this kind of takes on a new meaning in 2020. So safety and security means totally different things this year than it did last year. Safety and security in the context of financial companies often means, is my data secure? Is my money going to be safe? Can I ensure it's getting to the place that I intend to send it to? But now there's this element of bodily safety and bodily security. So brick and mortar stores closed all over the world earlier this year. And our customers still needed to send money. It's a critical service that we provide. How do we do that? In response, at Ria, we launched a mobile app in 13 EU countries to sort of satisfy that need. But also, let's say brick and mortar stores are open, but I'm part of a population who's incredibly at risk for COVID. I probably still want to send money from home. How can I consider the safety and security of our customers and ensure that they're getting a great experience? What do they need from us? Those are kind of the core needs. And then finally, how can we relate to them? How do we relate to our customers? I think, as we look forward, it's October, we look forward at the holidays. How can we represent holidays without referencing families in person? Which is actually a really interesting thing about Ria, even pre-COVID. Oftentimes how do you show a family together without having them touch, especially if they're in different countries? So our design team does a fantastic job of this. One image that comes to mind, we had an image of a man on his couch, and he had a thought bubble coming out to say, or to show his partner and his child at their home, that they're separate, but they're, together through the way that he can send money to them. And for that matter, when we relate to them, how do we show our product imagery looking like people are sending money from their couch? How do we normalize people sending money from their couch? These are all things that we're sort of, take a perspective of their world, think about what else is happening, and how can we show them that we know that to be empathetic marketers? So as you draft concepts, obviously very important to consider these things. There's also some questions to ask as you're kind of at the last mile. What do you do before you hit send? So some of these are simple. I still think worth calling out. The first question, what time of day is it? At Ria, we juggle over 10 time zones. And in fact, I think Australia during daylight saving time has 5 time zones alone in that one country. What time of day is it? Are we talking to them late at night, in the middle of the day? How do those things affect what we want to say to them? Also, evergreen note, always A/B test this, right? The behaviors of people in COVID are so different to pre-COVID times. Maybe people don't commute. We can't catch them on the train or the bus. These things are all changing. So definitely A/B test. My second question, where might they be in their world based on the time of day and what you know about them? Can you infer anything about where they literally are? Are they on a bus commuting, maybe in their bed at night, checking their phone on a 15-minute break? How do those things affect what channel we use? If we know people are really busy, can we just send them a push instead of an email? If it's really urgent and can be communicated briefly, can we just send a push or an in-app message? And then finally, arguably the most important, in my opinion, where are they in their journey with us? How much interest have they shown? Should we segment them? Should we suppress an audience who's showing us they aren't interested? And this brings me back to my earlier example about the registered, not transacted flow. So in the mindset of us at Ria, so you imagine somebody is creating an account with Ria to send money. Maybe they get interrupted, right? Account creation complete, fall off, what happened? So we tested sending a push notification at 6 hours and 24 hours after account creation complete, with 6 hours being the clear winner. And as I mentioned before, we get 10% more transactions after that push at 6 hours. It's good for them because it's a reminder, this is what you wanted to do. And it's good for us because we've turned an inactive customer into an active customer. But another note about this, just a small thing, kind of relates to what time of day is it. Maybe 24 hours didn't work so well because that happens to be a very busy time of day for them. Try to catch them at a different time. If you send it at 9 a.m. the first time and we don't see opens, maybe your remail strategy is to wait 36 hours or 8 hours. Try them for a different time of day. But ultimately for us, this successful transaction with a reminder at 6 hours is an important note that empathizing with the customer in a true way positively impacts your top line growth. Because customers feel helped, they feel seen, and that breeds loyalty. Empathizing is a non-stop process. And that's because our world is always changing. It doesn't look today like it did in March, like it did the March year prior. And so what I really want to emphasize is that how, when, and why we talk to our customers builds the realities of our relationship with them. These choices affect their relationship to us. What is our role for them? Are we a happy distraction? Did they rely on us being there in times of need, whether it's, distraction need or service fulfillment need? Every touch point is building a story of who we are to our customer. Are we being conscious? Are we aware of all of the choices that build that relationship? So considering your customer's perspective, what's the role of this company, perceived or real? What need are we fulfilling? What does that feel like to them? Do they rely on us? Are we reliable to that? I think transactional emails are a fantastic example of this. Let's say I am a customer of Ria Money Transfer and I'm trying to send $200 to a friend in Mexico. If I'm urgently needing that money to get to them, will it be helpful if I get a transactional email that I actually have no need of like there's nothing for me to do on my end? Can we consider all of the ways to make it clear whether they need us to do something? And I think what that brings me to is think about your customer's world and be honest with yourself. Are you enhancing it or detracting from it? Are you adding stress or are you relieving stress? And in fact, the question that marketers ask all the time, are you offering something before you ask for something from them? And what that says, at the end of the day, it helps your bottom line, as I mentioned earlier. If you're doing a good job, if you have a great product, offering a quality experience and leading with empathy, those things will show in spades. That will return to you in the form of loyalty and commitment. So this is an endless journey of 3 steps, and this is what they are. Empathize with your customer. Go to the data. Understand what they're doing, how that behavior fits in to the information that we know about their wants, needs, and perspective. And finally, nurture the relationship accordingly. Email is a relationship building channel, whether you are selling lawn care products or yoga or airline tickets or you're a money transfer service. Are you listening to your customer? Are you offering them something helpful? And to be clear, it doesn't need to be money. It doesn't need to be a promotion code. It can be certainty or clarity or safety, more options, an easier way. Those are all gifts to the customer. And what I want to say is these things haven't changed. This was always important. It will be always important. But 2020 is certainly calling us to do this with more intention and more urgency. So my parting thought here, what I will leave you all with, is to have empathy for yourself. This is a really tough year. And I just wanted to say, in case nobody has told you, you're doing a great job. Hang in there. Make sure that you take time to relax where you can. Thank you so much for joining me today. It was a pleasure to do this. I hope that you be well. And thank you so much.